Good morning, Wall Street Bets New. Happy Thursday. We are 2 minutes into the trading day. GameStop is up about 1%, up $1.48 so far. GameStop continues to consolidate above the 1-day 55 and bounce off that 154.34 horizontal we've been watching over the last few weeks. So overall, though we did pull back late last week and earlier this week, price action is finding support where it should be. So overall, things are still looking relatively healthy. Right now, looking at the 1-day chart, like I said, just a couple of minutes into the trading day. Actually, let's zoom in on price action just so I can show you what we're looking at. We have this major horizontal at 154.34. We can see on Tuesday of this week, we bounced off of this horizontal as well as the 1-day 55, which is this green line. These are the areas I'm watching. If there are further tests in the future or further downside in the future down into the low 150s, this is the area to watch. As long as price action continues to get bought off of this area, overall, things are looking relatively bullish. But if we do start to see price action below this area, that would be a bit concerning. But at the moment, things looking good. Price action, like I said, up about 1.5% today, up $2.35. Let's see if we get another test of the 1-day 21 today. Yesterday, we got a test of the 1-day 21, as we can see here on this yesterday's candle, though we can see there was a rejection, which you can see by the wick to the upside. So today, hopefully, we do see some more further upside. With that said, the oscillators RSI pretty much flat at the midline. The midline is at 50 on RSI, so kind of flat, not giving us much of a read here. And stochastics, a slight downtrend here, crossing below the midline, but overall, the oscillators not looking kind of neutral to bearish, if anything. So not much of a signal on the oscillators. Let's take a look at the hourly to see if we get anything down here. The hourly giving a little bit more information. As we can see, the last 6 hourly candles, actually 8, all some wicks to the upside and even to the downside so far this morning. We did come up and get close to the 1-hour 21 and actually see price action now selling down off of that. We do have a death cross on the hourly, which is not a good signal at all. And we do have the 1-hour 100 and 200 getting close to crossing down. So on the lower time frames, GameStop's looking a little bit weaker than the daily, but overall, the time frames, even up to the daily, there are no really bullish signals. So if things are looking like we could see some more downside. With that said, I'm not saying any sort of significant downside, but it's possible we get a test of this lower range at the 1-day, this horizontal at 154 or the 1-day 55. To the upside, I would say we can get a test of this 1-day 21. Overall, for those of you who are looking for an entry, wait to see, do we test the downside first or the upside first? When we get that test, how does price action react? Do we break through the 1-day 21 and continue to the upside? That would be extremely bullish. Do we come down to the 1-day 55 and bounce, as that would be a good buy-in area? But overall, on a day like today, it's best to be patient and kind of wait to see what side gets tested first and how does price action react. Now on to SPY. The indexes are just slightly down on the day. We can see SPY on Tuesday of this week did get a nice bounce off the 1-day 21 and as well off this horizontal at 411.61. Overall, SPY is in this channel between 411 and 417, as we can see by the white lines on my chart. Overall, what I'm waiting for is kind of similar at GameStop, is to see, do we get another test of the upside channel or the bottom of the channel or this 1-day 21? Until then, I will be patient. QQQ actually testing the 1-day 55 for the 3rd day in a row. We can see Tuesday, Wednesday, and now today testing the 1-day 55. A breakdown below the 1-day 55 after about 2 bounces off of it would be quite bearish, though we're only 6 minutes into the day, so it's really hard to say where the day will close as we have a lot of trading left. At the moment, though, this is what I'm watching. It is interesting to see price action did actually open up below this 329 horizontal. I'm watching this 329 horizontal. As we can see, yesterday we closed right above it, or actually right on it. And this 329 horizontal is, I'm actually getting it from the price action back in January and into February of this year. As we can see, this area got some play, as well as in mid-April. So gonna continue to watch this area. It is very interesting to see price action though open today at 328.76 below this horizontal and sell down and test this 1-day 55. Stochastics and RSI on QQQ still looking quite bearish, so it's definitely possible we do see some more downside. Let's see, IWM or the Russell 2000 ETF. Stochastics and RSI getting rejected off its EMA earlier this week. Now RSI is giving a read of 49.17, so crossing below the midline. Stochastics in a pretty bearish posture, getting into the neutral zone. We do have another test of the 1-day 55. Unlike QQQ, we are still above the 1-day 55 on IWM, but overall, it is looking like, if we do break below this area, things can get a bit ugly. With that said, until this major support breaks, I wouldn't look to get any shorter here, as we are right above support, so this isn't the place you kind of want to enter. It does look like so far this morning, though, if we look even at the hourly time frame, we did come down to test that 155 area and already getting bought up pretty quickly, so definitely still very, very strong support. Now, there's multiple, in technical analysis, there's multiple aspects that you can get information from, and one of the major, or in my opinion, the main places to get reads from is the actual price action. And as we can see on the price action, we can see on the hourly, for the last like 12 to 15 candles, can we see how there's a majority, the wicks to the downside have been much more significant than the wicks to the upside? What that tells you, and what that tells me, is that in this 121, 122 area, there is significant buyers coming in. And once again, this morning, look at the significant buying already. Just in the first 8 minutes, we wicked all the way down to 221.38 and are up about 0.5% up to 222.44. So very, very strong buying coming in this 221.50 area, as we can see over the last like day and a half. But overall, let's watch to see, does IWM continue to find support on the 1-day 55? Do we maybe make a play back up to the 1-day 21 today? Overall, the indexes across the board, we do have to be patient and kind of wait to see how things play out, as we're still early in the day. But watching these areas and having a game plan is how to invest and how to trade properly on a technical level. So we did get a few requests from the community, so I'm going to take some time this morning going through those. CCIV is not a ticker I've taken a look at in a long time, so let's zoom out and take a look. We can see that CCIV really pumped in the beginning of January from $9 all the way up to 55 for a 560% gain. Since then, it has pulled back quite a bit, but relative to where it was earlier this year, still up about 100%, still a pretty good gain. So any sort of analysis in life, the more data points you have, the better analysis you can do. And with technical analysis, it's the same thing. So typically when I'm trading in equity, I need at least a year, or 6 months to a year of price action to really start making any good decisions. And since CCIV hasn't really ranged in one area for 6 months, we can see it spent its first 3 or 4 months around $10, then it had a major jump and now came back down. There's not enough price action in this area for me to make any sort of really good read. We can see that even on the 1-day chart, the 1-day 200 EMA isn't even available, so that means this hasn't even traded for 200 days yet. With that said, we can put some horizontals on the chart, but really their significance is hard to say. We can see that back in mid-January, price action did find support on this 17 area, this 1739. Then again, just 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, on April 20th or 21st, price action did find support here. So CCIV, I would say, as long as price action tests and stays above this 1739 area, this could be a good long-term buy area, but the oscillators are still looking quite weak right here. We have RSI crossed down, we have stochastics crossed down. So I would be patient on this one. I wouldn't short it because we're right above support, but I wouldn't long it because we're not getting a good read from the oscillators right now. So this is something that you want to be patient on. Next is Torchlight Energy. A little bit more of price action here. So we do have the 200 EMA here. We can see the purple line. We can see all the EMAs. With that said, we still do have a very big pump coming in from November of last year. That pump led up 1,500% from 29 cents all the way up to $4.85. Since then, price action has pulled back quite a bit, but still up 570% from that pump when that pump started. At the moment, what we're seeing, we do see on April 16th a very, very nice bounce off the 1-day 200. Typically, stocks will have very strong bounces off the 1-day 200. That is because when you look at an equity on a fundamental level, if it's trading lower than its 1-day 200, that means typically something's happened with the company. Either there's a competitor or it's losing money. So a bullish stock will typically get a very, very nice bounce off this area, as we are seeing a few weeks ago. And that bounce off the 1-day 200 did lead to almost a 92% trade in what looks like under 3 weeks. So far, we have pulled back a little bit but still up 50% from that bounce. At the moment, though, what I'm seeing is the last 2 days seem to be getting some strong sell pressure around this 1-day 21 and 1-day 55. And today, so far, it looks like a reject off the 1-day 21 and 1-day 55. What I would look for to see is, do we actually close above this area? Do we get closes above 192 or 193? If that does happen, I would say things are a little bit more bullish, but at the moment, things looking a bit weak here as price action gets rejected from this area. Now on to QuantumScape. Now on to QuantumScape. Price action on QuantumScape is looking a bit bearish here. We can see these rolling sell-offs, right? We can see from February 16th of this year, basically, for most of 2021, price action has just been, have these bounces, this rolling shape that keeps getting sold off, and we continue that. If we take out the low from April 20th and 21st, that's coming in around, let's put a horizontal here, let's just call it $30. That would be pretty bearish. I would say at the moment, based on how the oscillators are looking, RSI crossing down, stochastics crossing down, price action could sell down quite a bit more here, potentially down to $30. So this looking pretty weak as well. I would not touch this until we get another test of this area, as we would want oscillators to kind of turn around off what we want to see is we want to see buying off this area. As we can see back on April 20th and 21st, price action, we got a very, very strong buy off this major support. We want to see that same reaction, and we want to see oscillators cross back up as we did. We can see back then, we can see how RSI crossed up, and we can see stochastics crossed up. This was a good short-term buy signal. At the moment, we only have a sell signal still. And then lastly, we got a request for TLSA. This is, I believe, some sort of biotech stock. This one is also not great for a read. Let's take a look at the oscillators. Right now, the oscillator on the 1 day, we can see stochastics crossing down. We can see, we have RSI crossing down. We have a rejection close to the midline. We have stochastics about to cross down as well. And we have price action below all of the major moving averages, and actually getting rejected off the 1 day 21 multiple times over the last week. We have a death cross just on April 16th, and we have the 1 day 100 about to cross below the 1 day 200. So this one looking pretty weak as well. If we do see some upwards price action, I would actually want to see price action get all the way above $2.96, get above these major moving averages to be any sort of bullish. As we can see very clearly since March, like basically March, April of this year, price action has been rejected. So that tells me very, very strong selling on these moving averages, specifically the 1 day 100 and 200, which is these teal and purple line. Until we see that, I would remain bearish on this stock. So that is all for today. If you do have any tickers you want me to take a look at, please feel free to put them in the comments of this video or hit me up in the Wall Street Bets new Discord, and I will be feel free to take a look at them tomorrow morning. Additionally, if any of you have any questions you want me to answer throughout the day, feel free to message me as well. All right, thank you for viewing, and have a great rest of your Thursday.